Hello and welcome to the Surly Sot Gamer Club. This is Jason, aka GreywolfZX's, and this is day 9 of my Xbox mod project. I am trying to put this USB mod hack thing I've been doing to bed. And if you saw day 8, I thought I had it and then it did not work. So, it appears through my testing that this connector here is not making a good connection. The wires are just not seated in there right, and I think it's because when I pushed them in there by hand and then put the clip back on here, they didn't properly get seated in the little, I'm going to call it the scissoring pieces of metal in here that the wire gets squished in between. So what I'm going to do is pop this back piece off, take some needle nose pliers, and just see if I can squeeze those all down and get a proper connection on there. I'm going to hope to do this nice and quick because I don't feel that this should require getting the multimeter out and going through each and every individual connection. I think I should be able to crimp those down, throw it in the Xbox, give it a test, and it should work. And I was just showing here because I've got the gap over there on the sides, and that could be an indication that I just don't have everything, shall we say, squished down well enough. But if you look at the side of the connector, it looks like it's properly clipped, so that just may be the way it is. And the gauge of the wire that is here, given what this connector is designed to take, might just be the problem. Maybe these wires are too thin for the connector to really properly bite down on it. But I suspect it's more that when I put those wires in by hand, the connectors themselves kind of popped apart a little bit, and that caused the wires to not, the insulation on the wire to not get split by the scissoring connector that I'm going to say once again, or pressure connector, I guess. And so that's not making a good connection in there. I mean, the insulation could have gotten split, but the wire itself is not being grasped heavily by the connector, and so I'm getting an intermittent connection. And the best I could get in testing the other night when I thought I had it, was that if I pulled this connector up in the Xbox and then twisted it to put tension on the cables, then everything started to work correctly. Well, that's not a long-term solution. That's just a testing scenario. And now I am unable to get these clips undone. And I am hacking at this with this Phillips end screwdriver when I should be using a flathead. So I'm going to pause the video and go get the proper tool. Okay, got the proper tool this time. That's a nice little flat one, and I should just be able to, I don't know why I always keep that off to the side like that. So should be able to just slip that in the side here, press this, pop this little guy up lightly. Do it too hard, you're going to snap it off, but I've said that before. And this will probably be the time when I snap it off. Oh, well, and then there's the dumb thing. If you're holding it on the back side with that finger and prying it on the front side, it won't move because you're then holding it with this finger as well. So take the fingers off the back side, lightly pry here, and let's see if we can get some movement. There we go. I know it slid around a whole bunch, but there it is, up further than it was. Let's do the other side. Oh. Trying to put this in camera. It's one of those, keeps moving the opposite direction of the way I'm looking at it. And that's very difficult to hold in place and not hold the end of. Right, that might work if I hold it on the sides. There we go. Now, are you going to slide back for me at all? You are up, but you're not released. Come on. This really should be there. Oh, there we go. Okay, I've got that part off. So the problem appears to be in here. These little guys either separated or I just didn't get the wire in there enough. So what I'm going to do is take a pair of needle nose pliers and just see if I can crimp down, straighten out some of these guys. I'm going to have to do it. I don't think I'll be able to work with it right there, so let's do it right here. Yeah. And my hopes that these needle nose pliers, which is why I bought a whole case of them so I'd have selection, my hope that these would fit seems to have been a little overly optimistic. They're a little big for this. So the ones at the bent end, probably not going to work. Probably going to have to go to something a little smaller like this. Yeah, because that shows you a lot. And we'll see if that'll work. They're pretty long, so it'll be between these two pairs here. And we'll figure one out. I think the longer ones might be the trick. Maybe I can do this over here. Not that it's terribly interesting to see. So we've got those, and I'm just giving them a squeeze and realigning the pins so that they're directly across from each other. Can't see it on that camera. There we go. Because they were a little twisted, shall we say. And so they're across from each other, and now we're giving them just a little squeeze. Gotta hold it up like this. But then I can't see what I'm doing. Yeah, that doesn't really show a whole bunch for a little squeeze together. And that slipped. So I'm going to pull it back, get a closer look here so that I can see how it looks. That looks okay to me. Let's move on down the line. I'm just going to do this out here and see if I can do this more quickly. Because I honestly don't think I can get much of a shot on the little camera anyway. Even these needle noses are a little large for doing this. And I say that because I'm trying to squeeze the pins together and they keep twisting. This is not the proper way for doing this in the first place. Oh, come on. Oh. There we go. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've never seen that there is a proper tool or way for doing this. I do know, oh, look at that one. I do know that these connectors are designed to work with ribbon cable, and maybe that in and of itself is enough to make it more reliable. I have one white pin right here, or one of the pins on a white wire, and it's bent all the way in the wrong direction. That might have been the issue, is that white wire just happens to correspond to the USB, or to the controller port 4, I think it was, which just happens to be the one I've got this wired up to here. So this set of pins on the connector just happens to correspond to controller port 4, and that white wire not being properly pinched in there might have been what did it. This black one here, also same row of pins, bent out same way. Can we get a shot of it? No, not with your finger in the way. It's so hard to focus. Aim you down a little more, bring it up a little more, and move it in the wrong direction. And you can kind of see the pin right there and how it should be closer to the middle of that wire. The white was kind of the same. You can see it's still jogged, and they're not directly aligned from each other, but it was bent back almost on top of the green wire beside it. So let's see. Alright, so as opposed to using the needle nose, you'll see I've got this flathead screwdriver in here again, and I'm just taking it and getting behind the pin and just pushing it over. Long-term effects of this, I honestly have no idea what this is doing to those connectors in terms of if it's going to limit their reliability long-term, or if it could even potentially break the connector. Alright. Get in there. Yeah, and pushing them together, hopefully I'm making a better connection. Alright, let's take a close look at this, see if I think there's anything else I want to mess with. He said, the yellow wire is a little bit off, but those are not the ones that are important to what we're trying to achieve here. So I don't want to let it go. I want to just give them all a little squeeze. Can you see that? Turn you up, get you here. Nope, can't see it at all because my finger's still in the way. Very hard to hold and not have your finger. So right there, just these two pins, just give it a little squeeze. In theory, if I squeeze too hard, I should be able to successfully slice through a wire. Like that. I hate being prophetic, prophesizing things. I can't believe I just did that. Okay, so now we're going to cheat. I'm going to split that wire that that connector that I just put way too far apart, and I'm going to hook these little pieces of wire, and because that wire is absolutely necessary for this, I'm going to strip them back, and I'm going to see if I can just dab a little touch of solder right on there. And if you heard my voice get further away, it's because I'm leaned over to plug in the soldering iron. I am not even sure how many different ways I could screw up this bit of this project. So, that having happened, I'm going to not use the needle nose to squeeze the rest of these little connectors, although I still feel very tempted to, at least not the way I did with that one. Alright, that is so small. How am I going to get that stripped back? And it looks, I might even cheat this a little in terms of I'll push the wire in and then solder it outside of the connector. No, then it could potentially be exposed. If I can get the two ends of the wire up to that and get them stripped so that there's you know, basically bring the two ends of the wire together and have them stripped back just a little bit. Just throw a little dab of solder on there. It might just be enough to make that work. Okay, I'm going to pause the video here while the soldering iron heats up. Alright, I got my soldering iron heated up. Get the little wires stripped back just a hair and pushed into the connector there. And I just got to put a little dab of solder right on this thing and hope it melts and sticks, and that's not looking like what I was hoping for. And that's what I suspected would happen. Look at that. I'm leaning way in here. That's not necessarily bad how that worked out. I can't just flow solder in there because this is such a tight tolerance. I won't be able to clip the little back piece on. And in all honesty, this might be what makes me resort to using the secondary one that I bought, which is why I bought two, in case I messed up, as I have proven that I have a tendency to do on this series of videos. Granted, we all do. It's not in how you do things perfectly, it's in how you make mistakes and then fix them. So you can see I've got the two wires in there and a gob of solder. The insulation has melted back, but that doesn't concern me because, well, I guess if that pushes, no, I don't think that could push over enough to make contact. And what I'm worried about is this part right here. If we can get it in focus, there's a pin right there, and then the wire right here so this wire could, in theory, get pushed over to hit that pin. If I can push that pin over just a little bit without cutting the other wire out. And you push down on these pins, hey, oddly enough, they're spiky sharp. So let's push you over just a hair. And, well, it bent over, so the odds of it hitting are very slim now. Although they were pretty slim before. I wish I could put something on that to clear it up a little bit. I mean, what the heck, we'll throw just a little. No, that may not be the best decision. I was going to throw a dab of super glue on there, but that might just make it worse. If I ever want to try and take this connector off, I might have successfully glued it shut. Although at this point, like I said, I might have to resort to unit number 2 and make sure I can try to repeat this process, but do it correctly. Alright, I'm going to throw this guy back on here. Let's see if we can get this to crimp down. It should lock on both sides, although this side with the solder in it already feels like it's getting harder to push, and I can't get, well, that's because I leaned the camera down just too much. So right there, oh, too far. Yeah, it's not going. Come on. Alright, rely on some pliers, give it a little extra squeeze. Yeah, that didn't look good, did it? See the twist there? Which part of you is... Let's do it out here where I can actually see it. Be ashamed to ruin it just because I'm trying to get a camera angle. That is clipped down. Although I've popped these open a couple times, so it makes it look not clipped down because of all the little wear marks I got on there. Alright, that's clipped down, and I'm quite certain we have a connection in that wire now. Lord only knows how much tension it's going to take from me abusing it. And I could get the multimeter and throw it in, you know, do the whole testing thing that I've done numerous times before. But I think for right now, we're going to go full gusto. We're just going to plug this guy in, hook it up, see if we can get the USB drives to recognize. If that works, I will solder in the other USB cable, and then we are on our way to getting the soft mod in place, and then getting TSOP flash, which will require more soldering, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Alright, that guy's on. Let's plug this thing in. There's one there. There's one there. Have all the screws for the case still on the table here. Change that monitor input. If I can hit the right button. Oh, you were on the right input. Just the monitor itself's on the different input. Alright, let's just turn this guy on and see if we can change inputs. Is that you? And once again, thwarted by the fact analog input, that's the one I want. Okay, must not be the right. Oh, there we are. Okay, AV2 is the one. And bring you in so the world can see you. Nope, that didn't really work. Alright. This camera. There we go. And you can see my high quality webcam taped to a lamp. Alright, we're there. Memory. USB connector, where are you? And let's try and get this all on camera. Here's a USB connector. Plug you in, and no light. Well, that is a bad sign. Oh, no light. I'm covering it with my hand. That light did not light up. It means I am not getting anything, which means this is not connecting well. I'll try the other one just for the heck of it, but that's a pretty good indicator. Yeah, well, once again, no light. Good indicator it is not going to work. Turn the Xbox off, and I'm going to lean my head in here and just make sure my connector in there is seated well. So, whatever I did, it looks like I screwed this up. Holy crud, how many times? So, I can lament it. Ooh, yuck. So instead of lamenting this, let's grab connector number 3, and we will try this a third time. Alright, I said I was going to move to the third connector, but I'm just getting too darn hasty, and this is something I should have done from the get-go, I guess, when I was going to squeeze those connectors together. I should have done some continuity testing and figured out where the problem lies before I just got in there and started squeezing on them and seeing what I could break. So, in that vein, I am now going to pop this cover back off, and I'm going to test between the end here, whoop, you know, on these pins, continuity here to continuity here, and see what I can get. And that actually just gave me a great idea. Since I have multiples of these connectors, I could throw the male end on and test from that side and see. So if I plug the male end here, so I'll have pins to test with here, and then I'll use the, these little connection points here to test the other side, and that will tell me if I'm getting flow through the wire, from this end all the way through my connector here, which means taking this off might be premature, but I'm going to do it anyway. So that part's done. Alright, let's grab the male connector and start doing some continuity testing. So if I take the male connector, like I said, this guy right here, see all the pins I've got there. Let's plug her in and let's figure out which pins or wires in this group here are not making, do not have a continuous or continuous connection to here. That's going to tell me where the problem is and what connectors I need to crimp or worry about on the other side. At least that's the theory. So I'll move you all back a little bit and try and fit more. Alright, so there's that guy. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about the macro cam because I don't think I'll be able to do both. So I am starting with one of the red pins, which if you look down from the camera, these are our red wires here at the side, so it should be one of these two. Okay, that one's good. Let's try the other red, since that's the wire we were messing with. Now the way this connector works is the USBs are split in, so this grouping of wire on, we'll call it the right side, is one USB connector, and then this grouping of wire here on the left side is another connector. So that means and the wires are somewhat flipped, so I don't have both reds here to test. I've got a red on the top side and a red on the bottom side over here, so I'm going to have to flip the connector. So let's flip the connector. Connector is flipped, and there we go. I got my pin on, and that red is good. So both reds, good. Next, we're going to move on to the green as it all slides around. So we're starting with the green next to the first red. Yep, and that should be, that is the correct pin. So this this group here, what I previously called the right group, is this row of pins here, and then the left group is the other row of pins there. So if I test the right group and end up getting a pin on the opposite side, that means I also have the pins swapped in the connector and made a big mistake there. Alright, so that was green. Just double check. Yep, not putting any pressure on it. Switching to this green. Oh, stop moving. Okay, there's that green. Okay, and fell off it again. Green. There's a connector, and it should be that. Oh, look, nothing on that one. That's our green. Nothing there. Okay, So green on this top row, bad. Let's make sure it doesn't hit anywhere else. Nothing. Okay. Let's just go through and get the rest of the colors. We need, oh, to finish off what I was calling the right bank, we need this side. And that's the white wire, which should be this one, I thought. Nope, that one. Okay. Oh, yellow. I forgot about yellow. So yellow, black, white, green, red. All right. That side's good. Hit the yellow wire. Come on. Not that it matters, but that was a weird response. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm getting a weird response off the yellow wire there. If I could get this a little more in focus, maybe I can illustrate what's going on. This one right here at the very end should be the yellow. And then the black's beside it. But yeah, that was... I don't think that yellow wire has a good connection in there because I got to put pressure on the pin. Yeah, I shouldn't have to put pressure on the pin. So that means the yellow wire doesn't have a good connection, but it's also one of the ones that's unimportant. So, review white. So this is yellow, that's black. There's our white. That one's good. We have not done the black one yet, but we're gonna... Black should be this one right here. Nothing on the black. Okay. No, black's okay. I don't know why it didn't go initially. So that yellow is no good. But once again, one I don't care about. And so the black's good. Okay. Going back to the top row here. And we know this green. That one right there. Let's verify it again. Just so we got it. Nothing on the green. Okay, and that's probably the problem because that's, I bet, the bank that we're soldered to. Okay, other row. There's our white. Oh, that's not encouraging either. Nope. Good connection. Well, since we're here, we'll do the yellow. Nothing on the yellow either. Although I may not have the pin in the connector. Not an easy test. So that yellow, no good. Interesting. Okay, so both yellows, no good. But once again, don't really care. Black, good. So black is good, white was good. And I believe we had a successful test of the green and red earlier. But we'll do it again. This one's going to be the red, so it should be right here at the front. Yep. And green. Should be the one right behind the red. Nothing on that green. So both greens, bad connection. Both yellows, bad connection. All right. Let's see. Oh, well, I got it right here, so I can mess with it right here. I cannot believe both greens and both... We'll give it a couple more squeezes. What the heck? What's the worst that could happen? It won't work. I mean, we're already there. I'm not going to try and get this on the little cam because, well, honestly, I think I've wasted enough of everybody's time with this. I just have a strange feeling we all just want to see it work. Come on, green. The irony of it for me that it's the green is that I had that trouble last time I tested where I had the greens swapped That was frustrating in that I had the green and the yellow. And which connector? Oh, on this connector that I had the green and the white swapped. That was frustrating. And oddly enough, the connection almost seemed to work a little better that time than it is now. And back to my whole complaint about the needle nose pliers and not fitting in. Yeah, that's tighter. I still wasn't able to get them to, they still don't want to fit right here. So even these ones that I bought and tried to get a good supply of, still not the right tool for the job. Worry. Don't mumble. I really am worried that I'm going to clip through another wire, because if I do that, or maybe I already have, and that's the problem. No, that feels solid. I could be wrong. I mean, that could be why I'm getting continuity problems, is because I clipped through the wire already. Well, let's test. I tightened down on both of those greens. Just for the heck of it, we'll start right here. We're going to put on the green pin there, and we're just going to touch. Okay, that's touching the green right there. And that was just one green, so let's try the other green. And then we'll move over to the male side of the connector and see if we get. That seems good right there. Okay. Doing it again. Green. And let's flip this guy over just so I got to get. Nah, it's not going to work. Come on. There we go. Well, now I'm all flipped around. So we're just going to go with this green and try. Okay. Good connection on green. Flip you so we can try the other green. And got it. Good connection on that green. No shorts. So, as opposed to going through them all again, let's go whole hog and throw it back in the Xbox. After I clip the connector back on. Again. This will be a trick, getting that male connector off here without pulling on my wires, because the last thing you want to do is stress, without this clip on here, pulling the wires, they're all going to come out of the connector. And I still don't trust it entirely because I didn't see how well I got it clipped. So I'm just going to put this little guy. Geez, lighting is really bad on the angle, really bad. Okay. Put the screwdriver in right there and just twisted it back and forth a little and got that down. Okay, let's check our connector ends. You look to be on solid. You don't look to be solid. I'll give you just a little crimp with the pliers. Make sure we get you the needle noses. Okay, I stand corrected. That's where it sits. Alright, Xbox. Come on. More money, more money. Whoop. Alright, the Xbox is getting ahead of me. I don't like having the power plugged in when I plug in connectors, and I definitely don't want to have the Xbox running. It really should not matter for this. There's no sensing hardware involved, so you could in theory plug and unplug these USB connectors with the unit live. Electrically it wouldn't cause a problem, But that doesn't mean that's a wise thing to do, because you're reaching into a powered electrical device. I mean, best case scenario, you just get a little shock. Worst case scenario, you really hose everything up. You get a big shock and kill yourself, or you get a little shock, but one that's enough to kill the Xbox. I am hopeful. Name looks almost sounds like my secret Indian name. I am hopeful. Okay, here we are. We've got this USB stick. We plug it in, and there is a light, and it showed up. That is huge, and it's not in messing with it. Oh, there, it went away. But it came right back. Oh, if I push on the connector, I don't know, that seems reliable enough. You know? Oh, alright. Maybe I'll share with everybody else. Alright, there it is. There's our guy. And we muck with it, and it's not going away. I pushed on the connector a little. It goes away. But, and now it's gone away? Seriously? Oh, no, it just, whatever I did, it took a second to reinitialize. Unplug it, plug in the next one. We got our little light. Oh, of course I'm not showing. It's there too. That is awesome, and it seems quite reliable. Yeah, I don't know what I did to make it. Oh, look at that. Okay. It went away, but the light came back. I expect it'll reinitialize here in a second. Maybe not. Oh, great. Yes, narrowly snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, or narrowly snatching. I was able to successfully snatch defeat from the jaws of victory just then by torquing on the wire, and whatever I did, okay. You're back. You're working. Unplug you. Plug you in. That's on. And oh, darn it. It's just unreliable enough. I mean, it's not like the thing's going to be moving around in there, but I wanted this to be rock solid. This is not rock solid. Where is the problem? The light's on. I'm going to take it a second to reinitialize. Is that what we're at? B, A to go back in. Not there. So whatever I'm doing here is creating a brief interruption, which is messing with this. So, but these are redetecting quickly. It's just because I created that brief interruption, they come back online with their light, but they're not properly redetecting in the Xbox. So it's just a brief short. I think I can get away with reinforcing the connection where the wires go into that little connector with some hot glue. Yes, my answer for everything. Alright, let's turn you off. Unplug you guys here. If you look closely and blurrily, you can see I did not heat shrink the rest of these yet. That's because I'm doing it all on camera here. Ooh, pardon me. Okay, so yeah, those guys need to take the hot air dryer to them, heat shrink them, and I'm going to explain the last little bit of my plan here. I'm going to take the connector here, I'm going to go up to the end there, and I'm going to run hot glue right along this edge here, and right along this edge here. Whoop. Same side, same thing, opposite side. Holy crud, not smart enough to get in the camera. Running along right here on top there. So I'm going to have hot glue on both sides of this little connector, holding the wires. That's going to relieve stress issues I was worried about anyway after having clipped the red wire in half. And then we'll plug it back in. It's kind of a done deal at that point, so it's either going to work or I'm going to move on to USB connector number 3. And yeah, I don't even want to think about that. I feel honestly bad for the people who've been so kind as to watch my videos. I promised I would share the entire experience, and so that means I would start USB connector take 3, day 1, or part 1, and I just feel awful about potentially doing that to people. Okay, we're getting a little bit of glue coming through here. It still needs to heat up a bit. You know, as my high dollar industrial powered hot glue gun, aka the one I bought down at the grocery store when I couldn't find the other one, which wasn't all that great either. Alright, there we go. Oh, we're getting good flow. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it right up against the wires and I'm squishing the glue between them. Of course, this new glue stick I bought is not getting any grip. With the little handle, it's supposed to push it through. Alright, I'll share what I got here so far. There's a gob of glue. I don't feel bad about the gob of glue this time compared to last time. I can only put the gob of glue on one side though. I'll run it along the wires on this side, but if I put glue down in here, it's going to interfere with I keep moving things away when I'm trying to move them closer. It's going to interfere with this notch, which is keyed to this connector right here. And if I put too much glue in there, oh, see, look at that. It's already happening. I got too much glue. That's getting in the way. So I now know that's not a viable solution to just goop tons of glue in there. If I'm going to do it, I can only do it on the top side and it can't really squish through. So let's just try run a good bead of it right along here on the top of the wires. It'll hopefully provide a little strain relief. Well, or group them all together so that the strain is equally dispersed among all the wires, so there's not just one wire getting all the strain. And then we'll just do a little more up here on these wires, kind of glooping them together into one mass. So I got that on both sides. Hopefully that will be sufficient to really, I guess, protect and secure the wires and help me have a good connection. I mean, I could get in, well, basically I'm going to put this guy in there. We're going to give it one more go. I'm going to wiggle it a little bit and see if it's reliable for the most part. I would love it if it were just absolutely, positively, 100%. You know, I couldn't get it to mess up. But that might actually require me going into take 3 of doing USB, which I have already listed my reasons for not wanting to do that. Alright, USB connector is in place. Power is on. USB connector. Controller port connector is in place. Now, I don't know where I threw my USB adapter wire. Here it is. Alright. Memory. This shouldn't really matter for plugging this live. Although, oddly enough, you know, in all fairness, it could be that I was touching these pins and I am shorting across them with my hand. That would be awesome if that's the case. There's our red light. It's blinking. I don't like it when it blinks. I like it when it goes solid. Damn, that is not encouraging because it is just sitting there blinking. We're not getting anything. Switch to the sand disk, which always seemed to be a little more. Came right up. Came right up. Now, could it be because I touched those pins like we were just saying? If we unplug this guy and throw this one that I'm not as fond of back in, came right up. Run my fingers along the pins. Because even though I don't have a USB cable on those pins, these pins are still powered through the Xbox. Me running my finger and shorting them or whatever it is that I do or did can still cause a problem. And I didn't get a failure yet. I'm trying not to touch those pins. You can see I didn't get a failure. Alright, let's do it again. I am willing to call this a win. Okay. I am not going to, okay, I promised I'd share everything. I am just going to do the one connector for now, the one USB cable. So I'm going to leave one of these unsoldered. Damn, but that means I have exposed pins in there. Alright. I trust that I will not have a problem with that. Could be famous last words. So I'm going to leave those ones unsoldered, and we are going to continue on. In day 10, we are going to start researching soft mod so that we can continue to the TSOP mod. There is still some soldering that needs to be done to the motherboard and able to do the TSOP mod, which I will definitely go over, but that process I won't do until after we have successfully soft modded the Xbox. So thank you everyone for watching through this horrid slog on getting this USB hack in place, and I look forward to providing some new content on day 10. Have a good evening.